Okay, I have something we can start with here.
Okay.
New opinions are always suspected and usually opposed without any other reason but that they are not already common. That was John Locke.
We reject the new things.
Yeah, just new things are spooky.
I do that.
Yeah.
I like doing what I know.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all like this. It's like hardwired. We're human beings. We're primates, right? If something new comes along, it's like suspect. It's like stranger danger, you know? But that's kind of interesting because, for the past 300 years of human history, we've had like rapid, massive change, societal, religious, technological, like every possible way.
Yeah, if you are a person who refuses to adopt new things in this day and age, you're Amish. You're at a problem. Yeah, you got problems quick.
Yeah, you're living a lifestyle. But it's cool because, that's what this podcast is all about. It's kind of like living on the other side of that. It's like every episode is something that actually might make you feel maybe a little uncomfortable if it's new, right? So, good luck, everyone, listening.
Podcasting you to discomfort.
Yes, do not enjoy.
Stick with us.
So, okay, today's episode, we're going to take a hard left from what we're talking about right now.
Okay.
I'm going to screw up all the lingo and everything.
Off to a good start?
Yeah. But I don't want to offend anyone because the whole point about this idea is actually empowerment of a minority group, which is the LGBTQ community. So I lovingly call this idea gay university. Gay university. Yeah, or historically gay university, HGU. Okay, so right after the Civil War, they started HBUs, historically black universities, HBCUs, historically black university colleges and universities.
Yes.
Okay, and now there's, I think, about a dozen or 15 of those, say 16 of those, and they're awesome, super cool. I was just on the phone actually with, or I had a meeting with the chief of innovation at the Thurgood Marshall Fund. Which they were supposed to be on the previous episode about insuring student debt. He's super interested in that idea. We're going to keep pursuing that. So more updates to come if we do anything with that. Yeah. But anyways, I was thinking about the HBCUs and how cool they are and how great they are for the black community. And I was like, it's weird we don't have, the LGBTQ community is, at least 10% of the population is LGBTQ. That's been known for a long time, just biologically. And probably it's maybe more than that. Now that there's real acceptance, it might be more like 20 or who knows how much percentage of people.
Right? There's a big spectrum.
Yeah, it's a huge spectrum, right? So, why not have HGCUs? Right? Why not have colleges and universities that are openly like, we are literally built to support this community and provide educations and do scholarship and do research all for us, by us, in that community.
Yeah. And you have a safe space where you're not worried about the judgment situation that might be in other places, and you can relax for. Yeah. And
it doesn't matter what college campus you're on, you're a minority if you're an LGBTQ person. Wouldn't it be great to go to a college where you're not a minority? Like where and obviously you can't bar anyone from going to a college, just like legally, even the HBCUs can't bar a white person or an Indian person or something who wanted to go there. But, just by convention, people are like, okay, cool. That's your guy's thing. You can, freedom to associate. I mean, I have a friend who went to Howard's. I've done like partnerships with other HBCUs. For
Howard is the
work.
most prominent name that comes to my mind when we talk about it.
It's kind of the Ivy League one, I think. Yeah. But I mean, they all are, they're great. They're universities. You can learn a lot in any of them.
So would this be changing an existing university into an HGCU, or would it be establishing a new?
Establishing.
You love to establish a new university.
I don't think we should just establish one.
I
think we should start 12.
Why 12?
Well, there's a huge part of the population is LGBTQ. Huge, 10-20% of the population. So that's 40 million. That's like 60 million people. Okay. So you think you're going to start one college for 60 million people?
It's a big college.
It's too small. You need at least 10. 10 would be 6 million people. Obviously, not everyone's, 18 to 35, like education. The age people most get education.
Well, if you have 60 million students enrolled, you probably get maybe 45 or 50 that go to class every day. So, I mean, you could probably handle it in a couple of classes.
That's true. What's the attendance policy of these things?
We shouldn't go by mine. It was not... And mine was on a sliding scale that varied greatly depending on how early the class started. Like later classes, oh, my attendance was much better.
Sterling.
8 a.m. classes, turns out.
We were different, Scott. I was huge nerd, like dorker. Wait, what do you call it when you actually do your schoolwork?
You said was?
I still am.
Oh, okay.
just checking. Just horrible. Just literally like the worst. I was totally the worst in college. Did everything. I would do the readings twice.
Okay.
I would literally do the readings twice. People would be like, I hate you. And it was bad.
You're that guy where someone has a really insightful thing and you're like, yeah, I thought that too on my first read through, but on my second read through, I figured out.
I don't think I ever said something that bad, but I would be like, well, on the, I would know, I would be like encyclopedic. I'd be like on the last page of the second paragraph, blah, blah, blah. Like right there, it says this thing. Didn't you notice that? And people would be like, no, of course I didn't notice that. I skimmed this before class started.
You would have been in Good Will Hunting. You're the guy, the how do you like them apples guy. You're that guy who's like, let me tell you about the reading I did.
But yeah, so HGCUs. So yeah, you'd start a new university. So I know how to do that because I've been doing this. But I'm not really, everyone's, whatever has a sexuality. Yeah, but I'm not LGBTQ.
You don't want to be straight.
Yeah, I'm just straight. I don't want to tell anyone, oh, I'm starting a, gay college, an LGBTQ college. People think I don't know what they'll think. So that's why I bring it to this podcast. Anyone listening who may think that that's their role or their destiny to do something like that, I would love to talk to them. I would be happy to help. I will provide all the help in the world for this idea because I think it's a slam dunk.
Our audience could contain several future chancellors of HGCUs.
Oh, absolutely.
That just haven't happened yet. Yeah.
Multiple. And if we have 12 of them, we need 12 chancellors. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot. Yeah. Also chancellor. So here's some reasons why this would work really well. One is, did you know that if you took gay men as its own group, say it made its own nation, it would be the most educated nation in the world. Gay men are enormously educated.
Okay.
They have a very high rate of going to college, and then they have a very high rate of getting advanced degrees. I don't know why, but anyways, that's just a fact, which means if you start colleges that say, come here, this is built directly for your, identity, directly for your, group, your kind of, what's it called? Affinity, group. Come here. You're going to get just like overloaded with applicants because people are going to get it. The other thing is it's going to be so great to like get the funding you need to start this college. You have one fundraiser in the Castro. You're going to be flush.
Yeah.
You're going to have all the money you need. You can build the board for this college. Elton John will join, who knows? Like, who knows? You can get illustrious LGBTQ people to join
people who
want
to be the first, like the groundbreaking,
right? Mm-hmm. You can find the best, Pete Buttigieg, once he's finished with his foray into politics.
Secretary of Transportation. Yes, very busy man.
I mean, he may not want to do something like this, but, illustrious, maybe his husband might want to do it. You get illustrious LGBTQ people to come and join the board. They then again double down, help the fundraising. Peter Thiel, maybe, although he famously doesn't like to be outed, but still he has lots of money and he cares about education. He created the Thiel Fellows. He might want to be involved. Okay. I don't know.
Apparently, I didn't know this fact that gay men were so educated on a whole. And so imagine if you're an uneducated gay man, you must feel like extra like, oh no, I wish I could find, like a historically gay college or university to get my education at.
Right.
Boom. You're helping out that sector get up to the level to be like, oh, you're not college educated? That's not.
Come on in. Yeah, how are you going to get dates?
You're in the minority. You're in the minority of the minority.
That hurts. That hurts. Yeah. You got to get up there.
Mm-hmm. Got to get your, human statue degree and your oh wait, no, that's a
human statistics where it's a human stats you. That's the other university that's starting.
Okay, so starting a university, I have definitely not done that. You have. So what kinds of things are the biggest like roadblocks that you have to figure out? Is it money or is it regulations or is it what's going on?
The thing is if you have the money, the regulations get a lot easier.
Oh, that historically seems correct. Yes.
So the cool thing about this, so if you want to start a university, so here's the bottom line. If you want to start a university and it's just a cookie cutter exactly the same as any other university, it's doable. It just costs about $20 million.
Ooh.
But the LGBT
peel off 20 mil.
Yeah, but the LGBT community has a reason to do it. If you just go and say, hey, rich person or investor or something, like, give me $20 million to start a university. And they say, oh, well, what's different and new about this university? And you say nothing, because if we did anything different or new, we would never get accredited. So we're just doing a cookie cutter. They'd say, well, why? No, I'm just going to give $20 million to like Penn State.
Right.
Because they're already doing it and they're doing, the
same. Already established.
Yeah, they're already doing it.
Yeah.
So it's hard to say I'm doing something new because you won't get accredited, but that's actually what money wants. They want you to be doing like innovative stuff. But with this case, you can be like, no, academically, we're just going to do exactly the same as everybody else. We're just going to keep our heads down and like keep our noses clean.
We're just focusing on a different client
what's different
base.
Is we're an HGCU. We're the first ever, historically gay, or you could LGBTQ or so. I don't know how they I'm not in charge of anything. But I'm just saying, I'll let the nomenclature go to the people who are in charge of this whole movement. But I'm just throwing an idea into the hopper here. We'll just call them HGCUs because it's an easy way to talk about it. Yeah. So, you go to an investor or not an investor, because this all should be nonprofits, but, you go to donors and you say, we are new. And the way we're new is we're serving this affinity group, and you maybe even you're part of this affinity group. And so you want to, help or whatever. And so then that means the regulatory side's easy, because if you just show up and say, we have these 20 majors, and we are doing, books and semesters, and they'll say, okay, cool. And then they'll just put you in this like holding cell for like 8 years, and then you'll get it. And I think you
just have to hold tight.
You just have to hang it.
You have to not disintegrate in those 8 years.
Over the 8 years. That's why it costs $20 million, is because you have to operate. You have to get students and also you have to have students who are going to school there, which again is a catch-22. Why would someone go to a school that wasn't accredited? They wouldn't unless it's an HGCU and they feel this incredible.
They're like the initial.
They feel this safety
class,
and comfort, and they're proud of being the first class. So then you can run students through without an accredited degree for that 4 to 8 year holding period that the accreditors do. So you would actually be able to achieve this. And I think you'd go way faster than a traditional school, because you can say basically you have to accredit us, because if you don't, it's clearly prejudice against our group.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
You could try to.
There's a little bit of
put a little leverage in that way.
You don't have to say.
You wouldn't want to not accredit us, would you? You wouldn't do that.
You don't have to say anything, but it's going to be the 900-pound gorilla in the room in every conversation. Is like, you can't really turn us down. Like, as long as we check every box and we're not egregiously like, I don't know, whatever, doing we don't do any classes, or we don't teach anything. Okay, right. Then no. But if you say, yeah, we have classes and we teach, and we keep track of things, and we have an LMS and we, learning management system. So yeah, this is a cool thing, not just because like, whatever, this should be a thing, because I think it should just clearly be a thing just on its own.
Sure.
But I think there's something more to it too, as a form of activism. So the LGBTQ community has done a amazing job, and I have to just like applaud. I just love the activism of the LGBTQ community. I think if every other movement on the country should just be studying what this community has done, because they went from being like, it's illegal and you can go to jail and everyone hates you like 70 years ago, to like, some of our most beloved figures are LGBTQ openly and like talk about it and joke about it.
Yeah.
It's, and that's amazing. Like, who can do that in 70 years? It's incredible.
When I was a kid, it was not an open thing. It was very few people were gay and out, and it was like a thing. And it was like, but it was just, the acceptance is leaps and bounds better today by no contest.
You have today Republicans who are willing to say, not all, we're going to talk about this too, because there's this other side of it, but there's a lot of Republicans who are like terrified to say anything against gay people, and who, many of them, actually in their hearts are like, yeah, of course, love whoever you want, and but you have a bunch of them that are terrified, and these people are not terrified of anything. They'll go up and say, yeah, we should give out AR-47, AR-19s to teenagers. Like, they're not scared of that, but they're scared as hell to say like, oh, I don't.
Well, it's reflecting the public, like the way the public feels, where if you say like bad stuff and you get a bad reaction from the public, where in general, they're like, we don't feel that way. We don't care about that. We're kind of over this.
Yeah.
Then you're kind of like, oh, I guess it's not a button I can push anymore. I'll move on.
Yeah. Democracy there.
Hopefully.
It goes. Yeah. So this is so the LGBT community has done an amazing job, and the pièce de résistance, the cherry on top of the sundae is legalized gay marriage. I mean, it's amazing. It's just like, I mean, I just like, especially like, I think, I mean, I try to understand it really like from their perspective, but if I put myself in their perspective, I think, wow, this is like a huge deal.
Yeah.
Like gaining the right to marry. I mean, people, it's like the Nelson Mandela quote, like everything's impossible until it's done. Like people don't understand. When I was 18, 20 years ago, the idea of gay marriage being universal, like, okay, maybe like California would have it or something, but the fact that it would be universal in the United States was an impossibility.
Right.
And then it was done. And it's like amazing. I think that's so cool. I remember the day I was in Madison, Wisconsin, and Wisconsin legalized gay marriage. And a bunch of the gay people were worried that it would be reversed like the next day by like court proceedings. So they all like went down to the city hall, and there was like lightning marriages happening. And like I went down and watched like 40 couples get married in like an hour. And it was so inspiring. It was like history being made. It was like seeing, whatever, fill in the blank civil rights being accomplished. I mean, it was really, really, really cool.
Yeah. I mean, imagine wanting to do something and just not anything, just like, I want to do the normal thing other people can do for so long, and you're blocked, and then finally that block moves out of the way. It's like that feeling has got to be just like,
amazing.
Yeah. And also the urgency to be like, while this window's open, before
let's go do it.
Right. Yeah. Get this done.
And I mean, you and I mean, obviously we're like white guys and straight guys and whatever. So we just like, it's like we
take it for granted.
We have the wind at our back. Yeah. So we don't feel it, but we have, but obviously the exciting thing for me is to help everyone achieve liberation, everyone achieve, the thing. So here's the thing. Now all that activism, where do you go with it? Okay, you got to achieve gay marriage. Well, what do you do next? There isn't really much to do. I mean, okay, gay president. I mean, that kind of was the big push maybe with Buttigieg, and there's a lot of people supporting him for that. Okay, but that's kind of performative anyways, because presidents just like murder children with drones and stuff. Like it doesn't actually, I mean, an American president
big downsides to that job,
they're going to still be an American president no matter what color of skin or whatever religion they are or something.
You're still the head of this militarized
a war machine. It's a horrible country with like this huge, So what if that energy went into founding 12 colleges and universities? That could be really interesting. That would create a incredibly powerful, imperturbable, unerasable institutional footing for that community in our culture.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
No, it's and I mean, you also hear about the discrimination and the terrible things that happen to people at like, especially in places where it's not as open to be gay or it's not as easy to be queer, and in those places in colleges, and people have some tough times and really terrible things, and to be able to like the way someone who is in the Midwest in a small town goes, I want to go to California for school, or I want to do this and change my life. The same way it gives somebody an option to be like, look, when I get out, when I get free, I'm going there. That's my Mecca. That's going to be a place where I can finally flower, be free, not have to worry about all these attacks from all these people who are just not accepting of what I am.
I mean, just think about like teenage suicide among the LGBT community. It's an elevated number. I don't know what the number is, but I know it's an elevated number.
It's huge in the trans community for sure.
Yeah, huge in the trans community, but also, all across. Anyone feeling like they're not part of
getting
their
picked.
community.
And
getting bullied.
Discriminated. Yeah.
So imagine if those kids, you're 14 years old, you're 16 years old, you might have some like glimmer of an idea of like, okay, when I'm done with high school, I'll go to college and maybe it'll be better. And so you have this sort of glimmer. But if you knew, I'm going to, this HGCU, I know that, 98% of the people there are going to be either LGBTQ or allies. Really 100% are going to be one or the other, but most people will probably be LGBTQ of some, the teachers might not be, some of them might be straight, but allies, obviously they wouldn't work at an HGCU if they didn't think, that they were going to be an ally. And, that's just got to be like the biggest lifeline. And to think, and this is why I say not one, because if you say one, then it's like, oh, this one thing. Start 12. Seriously, just start 12. Have them be sprinkled all over the country. Put them right in the South. Put them right in the Midwest. Put them right in places where traditionally it's like, oh, that's not okay to be gay. Like put an HGCU in that, like maybe not in that community, but right
accessible,
in the downtown of that city.
Yeah.
Put it in there in the middle of wherever you think, there's the most vitriol, Alabama or I don't know. I'm just sort of
stereotyping
and
the
now,
least accepting places are going to have people who need escape
it
the most.
Exactly. So put one in there. And now that organization can own land, right? It can own buildings. It can own. I mean, this is where it's like
a foundation, and they start to build wealth or whatever.
Because what does the LGBT community have? Sure, they have huge power in the media, which is great. They're gaining power in politics, great. They have this kind of cultural power, but I don't really see that real footprint of you can go to a place and literally you have it in the Castro. You go to the Castro, you're like, every building here is owned by an LGBTQ person. There's rainbow crosswalks, and you feel like, wow, this is a great energy. This is really cool. I would love to have 12 of those as college campuses all over the country. And you could have continuing education for adults. So it wouldn't have to just be, 18 to 22-year-olds. It could be this thing where, it's uplifting that community everywhere with education.
Yeah.
I love it. I love this
That's
idea.
a great idea.
As soon as I had the idea, I went off the wall with how cool it is. It's so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would start it, but again, I don't feel like I'm the person.
You're I'm not the voice. Right.
Yeah, but I'd love to help someone start it. I would love that.
Well, you as a person who have started universities recently are a great resource for someone hearing this who would be like that.
I'll just tell them. Yeah.
And you're like, look, I have a podcast. Talking about things is a thing you don't have to really convince me that hard to do. Yeah. I do it all already on purpose.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just brain dump tell you literally exactly what you need to know. Exactly. So
I like also having 12 go up. I mean, I don't mean to focus on negative stuff, but having 12 goes up means if one goes up, the resistance against it is very focused in one spot surrounding that thing. Right. If 12 go up, it's like, okay, we have to split our resistance into these.
Oh,
if we're the Westboro Baptist Church, now we have to make 12 different delegations to go out and be terrible people in these
protests.
It costs us. It's the same way it has to use more resources to start these 12 places.
Right.
You'd have to use more resources to thwart these 12 places at once. And so that I feel like that gives them a better chance of longevity, like you were saying.
There's also, someone said something really crazy. I think it was, maybe it was Nathan on the last episode. He said every single Supreme Court justice went to either Harvard or Yale Law School.
That was Nathan.
So the question is, does the president appoint Supreme Court justices, or does the admissions office of Harvard and Yale Law School appoint Supreme Court justices? Well, if you want a LGBTQ Supreme Court justice, you can go to Yale or Harvard. That's fine. I mean, and there's plenty of people going there. But it's just interesting to think about how power flows through these cognitive institutions. And if you started maybe 12 HGCUs, and maybe one of them was like Howard's, and it was kind of like an Ivy League one or something, like a better one. I mean, one of them's going to be better just by average. You should probably try to, strive for equity, strive to make them all good. But,
they'll have different strengths and different focuses. Yeah. One might be more academic. One
might have a law school and the other one might not.
Yeah, exactly.
And then, so now you have this HGCU law school. What if a Supreme Court justice went to that?
Comes from there.
That one.
Sure.
That would be interesting. You know what I mean? It's just, I think, there's just this, when the idea gets in your head, it's like a little it starts to grow.
It blossoms out into many different directions where you could see it affecting positively in a lot of different ways,
Yeah. And think about the cool, I mean, especially when you look at Gen Z, there's all these cool kids now who maybe aren't LGBTQ really in their strictly in their identity, but they are just crazy awesome allies, and they just think that's a cool way to live, to just be a community where love is love and anyone can love whoever they want. And those people will go to these colleges too. They don't have to be I don't know, some identity or something.
It's great and refreshing to talk to a young person who just they don't understand why you would discriminate against gay people at all. They're like, why put any energy into it? What are you talking about? That's
Grandpa,
ridiculous.
Why?
They're like, all right, man. But I love that's so refreshing to see it just to be so not a thing.
Yeah, that's so cool. That's where we got to get to. I mean, that's where if you go to an actual university where there's no, I mean, talk about it's just crazy. What would be possible on these campuses? What would be going on? I mean, it would just be a completely civilization
And the graduation
improving.
ceremonies would be way better.
Oh my God. Can you imagine the robes that these... It'd be like a catwalk.
I'm just saying.
We're going to just be stereotypical
We're not doing
now
the
for a little bit.
Right. Oh no, we're horribly offensive.
Yeah,
Everybody.
We're going to offend everybody. You know?
No.
Cut that. No,
delete. And it's not common, but when you go into predominantly queer spaces, there's a different vibe, and it's like, this is cool.
It's like
great.
Multiculturalism. That's the benefit of living in a multicultural country, is you get to enjoy all those different spaces. It's so awesome. Like, do I want to just live in a country where everywhere I go is like mashed potatoes and corned beef? No. I want or
you had me at mashed potatoes. If everywhere I go is mashed potatoes, I might jump into there.
You want to be in that country. Okay. That's the South.
I like my mashed potatoes. I don't know.
But I mean, if it's Blaine, but more same, even if it's a good thing, if it's everywhere, I'm just exhausted with it. I'm so bored with that.
Different.
So,
we are human. Humans are novelty creatures, right? We like different stuff.
Like would we have like a vaccine for HIV already? If we had 12 research universities that were all HGCUs, there'd be a lot more, there'd be a lot more focus on things.
Well, you're definitely going to have more people in the room who are like, hey, this might be an important thing to look at, you know?
Right.
It affects our community.
And much less, and the same thing for like politics, right? So anytime some right wing or libertarian person wants to make some claim, they cite like a think tank that is wrote some white paper that supports what they said, and it's all BS when you go and look at it. But they have this like citation, and it lets them then speak and stand up and say, hey, there's this sort of research that happened. What if there was 12 research universities, all that the researchers were like, actually, we have other data, to show you.
And what a counterpoint to today's time, where it is really, there are places where they are literally trying to erase gay and trans people from the education space completely. Florida and other places where they're like, gay, right? We're going through the library, we're removing anything that even has a whiff of non-heterosexual, like we don't want this to exist, like in a time when it's being erased from some spaces, when you're like, it's 2023, how are you trying to go backward?
I mean, they are, and that's
establishing permanent like institutions that are there and going to be there and go forward and be strong like units. That would be huge. It'd be huge. It'd be counteracting crazy. That sort of impulse.
Amazingly the power. I can't think of a more powerful thing for the LGBTQ community to do than to found at least one of these. And I would do at least 4, because like you said, to kind of make it regional, or but I think 12 would be even better. I mean, it's not like there's a shortage of educated LGBTQ people.
We have a big country. 12 is fine.
Yeah, even 12
even
is a
seems
small
a little
number.
Bit, right?
Yeah. But I mean, at least 4 or 5. But even that sounds like great. Like 10.
No.
10. They do at least 10. I mean, seriously. You could put at least 2 of them in San Francisco. You could have 1 in Oakland and 1 in San Francisco. No problem. They'd be full up the next. The first year they'd be oversubscribed. I mean, in my mind, there's no question they would be oversubscribed. Also, this is the other angle here. This would be a media explosion.
There would be nonstop CNN, news stories.
MSNBC, Fox would come out obviously against it.
Can you believe this is happening?
Yeah, but can you imagine the amount of immediate overnight awareness?
Yeah.
It would be like turning on a light switch.
Yeah.
All of Americans would know about it instantly.
Well, it would definitely, the news cycle would pick it up and stick with it for a while. The other thing
that might be an interesting, this is a new part of this. Being gay, I was once in Europe, and I was like, Europeans, you guys are so great. Universal healthcare, like you have so many things figured out. Mm-hmm. And they do LGBTQ stuff well now too. But this European guy said to me, he said, you're right. You're right. Europe's great, and we got a lot of things worked out. But Americans really led on LGBTQ stuff. And I was like, dang, that really hit my heart. Like I was like, wow. We should really be proud of that. Like, that's really cool. And you know what the cool thing about universities is in America?
What's that?
If you get accepted to one, you can get an F1 visa, a student visa, to come to America. Which means these universities could literally brain drain all the LGBTQ people out of the countries where it's like illegal to be gay.
Yeah, I was like, and also make way safer life for them.
Exactly. Yeah. And import them into America, which would drive the Republicans up the walls.
There are places where it's just not, we take for granted, even though it is still a difficult road here, my understanding there are places where it is an impossible road, you know?
Yeah. And this would be a way for, it's basically like an underground railroad to just get people who would be unsafe. You know, I mean, they can apply for asylum. I mean, you can flee to America and apply for asylum and say, I'm gay, I'd be killed if I were in Iran or something. But you know, that's way harder. It's way easier to apply to a college, them say yes, and then maybe you even have funding for this. Like maybe you even get the donations to pay, you know, for the scholarships for foreign students.
And you're getting bright, young, motivated students who want to excel and like improve.
They're going to be so
I
happy.
Can't think of a better influx into the
It'd be great. It'd be great. And it would be such an interesting, like, multicultural community. And it would just be, I mean, I'm sure these schools would just be overnight, like, oversubscribed, amazing places of learning, amazing places of education. I'm sure the tuitions would be affordable.
It would be
the whole point,
on par with whatever.
Yeah, the whole point is accessibility. I'm sure it'd be like, you know, it'd be like going to like a state school out of state or something, you know, something affordable. Anyways, I hadn't thought of that. That's really interesting. There's kind of an international aspect to it.
It definitely would have pull because this is not a thing that I've heard of in any other country. So
no, never.
If America led the way as like, guess what? We've got some hubs that are safe and welcoming.
Yeah.
And that's then a big beacon.
And then you have 12 colleges. Each one starts off with like 100, 80 students or 100 students. 5 years later, they all have like thousands of students. 20 years later, they all have like 40, 50,000 students each or whatever. I mean, why not? They might as well get huge. And then what do you have then? An alumni network. I mean, it's like crazy. The amount of power that just having like that alumni network would be is crazy. It's amazing and awesome, you know?
Yeah.
It's really awesome.
And that's a new support network that doesn't currently exist, you know?
Yeah. I mean, you could have like your, LGBTQ, unity or what's it called? Union, because colleges have these affinity groups.
Sure.
And sure, you might have your alumni from that and great. But like, can you imagine like the actual alumni network, like where you have these meetings and everyone's off, said, hey, everyone donate money every year to like our college. Like the colleges would just become amazing places of scholarship, amazing places of youth liberation. I mean, I think they would just be like lighthouses in the world, not even just in the United States, but I think they'd be really,
you're right.
Amazing.
Yeah. That is an exciting idea. I really, I like that a lot. That's cool. That's really fun.
Yeah. And whoever starts them gets to wear all the bling because, nobody does bling better than the academics. Have you seen these robes that the PhDs wear and the provosts and stuff?
They're
hoods.
They look
robes,
like they're straight out
hats.
of the 1500s.
Oh my God. And the thing, I just want to drive home the thing you said too, which is about erasure. This is something that's really scary that I've seen, and obviously I think it's being blown up a bit, but the fact, by like, the kind of news that I listen to is like more leftist and obviously more multicultural, but the fact that like things like this are being said at all is terrifying.
Yeah.
And the idea that, I've heard people say like literally like right-wing people saying trans people like don't exist. There is no such thing as a trans person, which is deeply genocidal and like terrifying. Like that's literally what you say when you then want to say, well, we should then, illegalize or kill or hurt or,
It's as crazy to me as if imagine meeting someone and they go, "Hi, my name is Frank," and you'd be like, "No, you're a Kevin.
Yeah.
Your name is Kevin."
Yeah.
You're like,
yeah.
"I promise you, my name is Frank." You're like, "I'm gonna call you Kevin." Frank doesn't exist. It's so crazy.
It's totally insane, and it's just sick. And I can't see a way forward to fighting that with just like a gay president. It's like, sure, that would help because again, that would give more power and more representation, and But
the days of presidents being country unifying forces, I don't think.
Obama was president, and then 10 years later, we had Pink Floyd, Black Lives Matter. It's not like having a black president somehow fixed. I don't even know how much.
Wait, Pink Floyd? What did you say?
Didn't I say? Oh, did I say Pink Floyd? I meant to say George Floyd. Sorry. Pink Floyd. Good.
I was like, Pink Floyd,
rocker.
Black Lives Matter. I haven't heard their version of that song.
Actually, maybe there is like a Pink Floyd guy who is really pro. But anyways, I meant to say George Floyd.
Yeah, no,
but I'm just saying a black president didn't fix
like
anything. I mean, if anything, things continue to get even worse.
It's deeply.
Actually, I'll say something a bit controversial, but also factually true, which is Obama he presided over the time when the greatest wealth transfer from black Americans to white Americans happened since slavery. So in slavery, wealth was transferring from blacks to whites through their free labor.
Yeah.
But actually, the 2008 crisis and bailout was a wealth transfer because most of the subprime mortgages were held by people of color.
Okay.
That was actually a wealth transfer through the bailout from black people and brown people losing their houses and rich white people getting bailed out by the government, which meant it was the largest wealth transfer in history from people of color to white people. And the black president signed the law and ordered the law to do that.
Oof.
Instead of saying, moratorium on mortgages, right? He could have just said nobody has to pay their mortgage. No, if you're in a subprime mortgage, you don't have to pay your mortgage for 6 months while we figure this out. Right? He could have said that.
Yeah.
Didn't say that. Said, hey, you guys, Goldman Sachs, you get as much money as you want, and all you guys who bought houses with subprime mortgages, you're all screwed. That's what was happened. So
the 2008 financial crisis is sort of this like dreamlike thing in my head where I sort of understand it, but I was in Japan from 2004 to 2009, so I missed that whole. Like I came back in late 2009, so I missed the. So I was like. It was I had a different experience of the financial crisis.
I had that for 9/11. I was in Spain during 9/11.
What time of the day does 9/11 happen during?
Actually, the Spanish really psychologically anchored on 9/11 because it happened at 3 p.m., which was their lunchtime. And everyone is sitting around watching the TV. So every single Spaniard saw 9/11 happen in frame by frame.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was wild.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
The new chancellors of your HGCUs, do they also get to pick the names of your HGCUs? That seems like a huge incentive. But that's an incentive that could get someone to get the funds and be the chancellor. I'm like, you can name it whoever your person is.
Yeah, naming rights.
Like you're like
Ellen DeGeneres could probably pay one, although she has sort of a mixed.
I feel like naming them after yourself might not be the best thing, but she
might be able to pick,
or if you're like, I have an icon from I want to name Oscar Wilde University, or that's my icon,
or maybe like an unknown. What would be really cool is like, hey, when I was a kid, or like a teenager, I knew this other person who was LGBTQ, but they couldn't live their life the way they wanted to. So I want to name it after them. This no name.
Right. That's
cool. That'd be cool.
That's pretty cool.
Anyways, I would just make, whatever.
You're hypothetical.
Hypothetically, yes, just name things, whatever.
I was just thinking the naming is fun.
You could also name it after, you don't have to name it after people too. You could name it after place. People call it the University of San Diego. You could just call it that too. And then people would just know, oh, that's an HGCU.
The University of San Diego.
That's that.
No? Okay, no, I just went over to the other side. Oh, crap.
I think we were really good up until San Diego.
Everyone just stopped my brain.
This was the moment you were canceled, Scott. This is the moment you were.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. It was nice being on the podcast.
You went on a high note.
I really enjoyed hosting this. Next week, there will be someone else. I'm sorry.
Should we wrap up on Scott getting canceled?
I think so. I can't. I got to uncancel myself real quick. Yeah.
Can you not outdo that?
Well, I probably could. I just probably should not.
Let's not do it. Let's not do it. Yeah. Well, anyways, I open up, anyone can contact me. It's in the show notes, and happy to help anyone. I would love to work on this idea with anybody. This is such a cool one.
Yeah. It's really fun. I like it. Well, Adam, thanks again for bringing us another banger.
Oh, yeah. This is a good one.
Thank you for listening, audience.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
We'll see you again next week.
Take care.
Bye.
Hey there. Thanks for listening to that episode of Solutions from the Multiverse.
Yeah, we're back with a little after roll. Hello.
Hey, after roll. Roll that after roll. So basically, we want you to subscribe.
Yeah.
And rate and review. And tell someone, take your favorite solution and send it to someone who you think would blow their mind to hear it.
Yeah, we love making the show. We're proud of it. And we're excited. We want other people to show. We know that the main way people find podcasts is word of mouth. I know that's true for me. I listen to my friends who also listen to podcasts tell me about ones, and I go, okay, I'm cluing into that. So we want to be part of that chain.
So thanks for being a part of Solutions.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again real soon.
Bye.
Bye.